Northeast Radio SD, Watertown, South Dakota. We're live in studio, and we've got some, some very special guests in studio with us, and a rare opportunity because we've got online radio here, and then we've also got the Lake Area Radio Klub to talk about. Now, is amateur radio the correct term for this? Am I using that correctly?
Yeah, that's what we like to call ourselves, but
okay,
probably more people recognize us as ham radio operators as well.
Yeah, okay.
And there's a lot of facets to ham radio, but we're going to talk about field day for this weekend.
Yeah, okay. So we have Mike and we have Dave, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So Dave, you are going to tell us a little bit about the technology, if you will, itself, kind of. Am I right about that?
Right. Yeah, the technology, but also the origin of field day, which has gone on for almost 100 years. During World War II, there was no ham radio operation going on. But other than that, the field day event itself is basically emergency preparedness, but it's been going on for quite a long time. Our own club, Lake Area Radio Klub, that's with a K if you look it up, has done it for at least 50 years. We didn't go back as far as we could have, but we've had probably continuous field days for at least that many years. So while it's not a new event, we still do the same kind of things where it's a lot about emergency preparedness, where we bring out our generators, or these days it's solar panels to charge our batteries that run the equipment 24 hours. Starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday, ends at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Our goal is to make as many contacts with as many other stations doing the same thing in the U.S. and Canada, of which there are over 1,000 of these stations like ours set up.
Wow.
We're at the Ernie Edwards Air Force Base, National Guard Base, right out here on Highway 20. And field days, just our annual, we call it our open house. It's sort of a contest also, where we try to make as many contacts with those other stations as possible. We'll be using 3 different modes. We have standard voice transmission, Morse Code, which is probably one of the earliest forms of ham radio, and a newer mode called digital. It's really not that new, but it's very popular. And a new mode showed up in 2018 that has been very popular and very useful for this kind of event. So that's the gist of it.
So just for those that aren't familiar, what differentiates between, your AM, FM radio and when you have this communication radio?
Right. Amateur or ham radio, we have many different bands, little segments of the frequency spectrum. The most popular ones are between the AM and the FM radio bands, AM around 1,000 or 1 megahertz, and FM being around 100 megahertz. So we've got 10 bands, for example, between those two, but they're little segments that we use to communicate. We can use various modes. We can use AM, we can use FM, and Morse Code, and all these other digital modes of communication. So it goes back, but Morse Code, or we call it CW, is probably the oldest. It goes back over 100 years.
Are there people that utilize it for like entertainment and music and different things? Can you do that with?
No, it's not a broadcast medium. No music allowed in the United States and Canada, I assume also. This is a worldwide hobby. This morning, I talked to a guy in Easter Island, as it turns out. So, it's not for that kind of entertainment. It's public service related and emergency coordination. Before I forget, we have a facility we're working with the hospital to set up. We already have one there. They're talking about moving it to a different location within the hospital in case of a dire emergency. We'd be able to set up communications with other hospitals in the area to coordinate. Hopefully, wouldn't come to that, but, make sure beds are available for people that need them if other communications modes break down, which ours is, it's a person, a radio, a wire going to another wire, back to a radio, back to a person. There's no need for internet communications. We use internet with our hobby, but that's not the main focus of it. It's all of that radio to radio with a guy running the radio on each end, or a girl.
Yeah. And it can travel like tens of thousands of miles versus radio, depending on the power, is usually like 40, 60 miles.
Oh, yeah. We're able to communicate around the world with power levels up to, in the United States, are 1,500 watts or so. Most of us run around 100 watts and are still able to make that work without a problem. The ionosphere is fickle. It's kind of like fishing. Some days it's hot and you can bounce a signal all the way around the earth with just a few watts. And some days, no matter how much power you put into it, it's not going to go very far. But yeah, we have 300 international DX entities. We call them countries, but they're actually just divided out. So we keep track of where we've talked to and so forth. But yeah, we've got amateur radio operators all over the entire world. This particular event is just U.S. and Canada for emergency preparedness, but there's other contests that go internationally as well.
Okay, very cool. Well, Mike, tell us a little bit about the special field day itself.
Sure. Okay. So we're going to be at the National Guard Readiness Center on Highway 20, just right outside of Watertown. And this is the public is invited for this. And if you're, number one, if you are an amateur radio operator and don't have a field day to go to or event, you're more than welcome to come and talk to us, and we're happy to work with you. Another thing too is if you would like to learn more about ham radio and like to see this in action, this would be a wonderful place to come and do it. And the public is invited anytime, but we'll be set up for visitors from 2:00 to 4:00 Saturday afternoon, and we'll have people to give tours. And what you're going to see is that we call it 9 Alpha, meaning that we're going to have 9 transceivers. And so what we're going to do is we'll have 2 stations with CW or Morse Code, and Dave's quite the whiz banging, and we have a couple other ones in Morse Code, very good at it. Very good at it. We're going to have 4 transceivers we call it phone, but it's voice orientated. So we'll have 4 radios with our antennas. We'll be talking North America to make radio contacts just with the voice part of it, talking back and forth. Another thing too is that we have 3 data stations. And what data station is that we have computers that are hooked up to our radios, and through that computer program, they send data information over the radio waves to another radio that picks it up through their antenna, and then their computer on the other station will decode that information, like who we are and where we're at. So that's another part. People that our computers can talk to each other via our ham radio antennas and radios. So it's pretty cool. Also, we will have, it's called a get on the air station, and get on the air stations. We'll have a person that is more or less a coach, a ham radio operator, and they'll sit down with people that may be interested and want to try this. So if you would like to we would like to make a contact on the radio, we'll have somebody to sit down with them. And this is geared for anybody, if it's maybe they do have a ham license but haven't broadcast for a while, that we can sit down with them. Or if a person is very interested and wants to have a little hands-on experience, we'll work with them. And we'd love to have any kids. We can come and do that too. So kids are really interested in it. So it's pretty cool. So, last thing too is with some of our members, we've been making satellite contacts through ham radio, because there are ham radio satellites that make passes over Watertown several times a day. And so we have antennas that track the satellite, and we'll broadcast towards that satellite. We'll bounce it back down to another radio station in North America, and we'll try to. And we've made contacts several times during field day with this. So, and there's people that are active in ham radio on doing the satellite communications with our satellite.
Got to talk fast, because some of those go by pretty quickly.
They go. Yeah, if you have them for a minute or so over a pass over Watertown, you got to get in and get going. So
wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But what I like about this, it's like, yes, it's an open house. We love to have people come and see this. It's a contest where we try to make as many make as many radio contacts as we can in North America. It's training for us to make sure, we sharpen our skills, and especially if members don't have a radio set up, that they can use ours to develop their skills so they can make their contacts and learn how to do it correctly. But what I really love about it is that, let's say something hits the fan, and there's a national emergency, and there's no, power grid's down, internet's down, stuff like this. The Lake Area Radio Klub, we have antenna trailers we can set up. We have radios we can set up. We have access to generators. We have access to solar batteries, and we can communicate across the world We don't need anything else besides what we have to communicate across the world. And that it isn't broadcast. We can talk back and forth. I get real, I see that a lot of times we don't get credit until people think it's a hobby until it's an emergency. And let's go get the ham radio guys. We can do it. So, and that's what we practice at. So.
In fact, we help with coordinate the hospital hill run. Mike organizes that for us, and that went very well.
Yeah, we have people observing walkers and such, and if they can't find somebody, we'll go find them and such. So, but anyway, but we have local communications with our repeater that we can talk on our handheld radios around Watertown. So it's a lot of fun. And just my quick story is that I had my grandson, he's 11 years old now. And a couple of years ago, it was like President's Day, and he was at my house because there was no school. So he would get, let's get on the radio, and that's fine. And so we were talking. And so my setup is that I have a radio in the basement in my ham shack. I have coax goes up to my antenna in my trees outside my house. And the first contact we made was, which he thought was really cool. We were talking to somebody in New York City. And then he thought that was really cool because of New York City. It wasn't 10 minutes later, we were talking to somebody in Cape Town, South Africa. And they sound like they're in Kranzberg. I mean, yeah, that's it too. Wow. Actually, the communication there, the back and forth, a lot easier. Trying to decipher their English versus our English was a lot harder than it was just trying to talk over the radio because it was crystal clear. And I thought Cape Town was pretty cool because that's over 3,000 miles away. But my grandson thought New York was a lot cooler.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if somebody, just very, very roughly, if somebody wanted to get into something like this, can you do it for $1,000 or $500 or a couple thousand? And
less than 1,000. I mean, it's just like any other hobby, I guess. If you were going to start golfing from scratch, you could find a used pair of clubs or whatever. The same kind of thing with ham radio. There's a lot of used equipment available for a few $100s. And actually, the beginning license is what we call the technician. It's a fairly straightforward, easy test. And allows you to use these among these handheld radios. But the cool thing about these too is they also can work through the internet. So I can use this to communicate with anybody in the United States or the world just from this. Not this particular radio. I'm working on a different one that I might be able to do that with. But so it works with the internet, as well. Some older ham radio operators are not fond of the internet because they think it is displacing ham radio, but other more forward-thinking ham radio operators know that it can work with it to do more things. I want to also mention something in passing too. Mike mentioned all the satellites. The International Space Station has a ham radio station on it. One of our members, I think, has talked to the people on it, and also it's a repeater, so we bounce signals off of that when it goes over. So that's another cool thing. Another thing, one of our same guy that helped with also was instrumental in providing communications during 9/11. There was time after that, I guess cell phones were not working so well, and we handled welfare check traffic messages here locally from people living in New York that needed to get the word out that they were okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So, I will throw out there is that, if you're interested in learning about ham radio, the Lake Area Radio Klub is an excellent source, because the thing is that I was the CB generation growing up, and I always knew about ham radio, but I always read about ham radio whenever I got it in a magazine or saw it somewhere. And then I found out, wow, the Lake Area Radio Klub is there. And I said, well, let's go talk to them. And, I got my technician license, and then I joined the Lake Area Radio Klub. And now the nice thing was the radio club helped me get into the hobby, or get into the, this ham radio or amateur radio, because I found out people that well, number one, the technical guidance was wonderful. Number two is that finding used radio equipment is very nice, because that way, and they're very much, poor analogies is that they're, if you take care of ham radio equipment, it lasts forever. Okay. And so it's like anything. But nice thing is that my HF radio, the radio that I talked around the world, my first one, I bought that one for like $300 through it was used, but it was from the 90s, but it still works wonderful today. But of course I had to go buy $1,000 one, but anyway, Lake Area Radio Klub is full of people that have a lot of good guidance and understanding of, and can help people. And to tell you the truth, I know I still learn every day from guys like Dave and the other members that learning every day about it. But luckily, I've been around it for 10 years now, so I have a very good understanding, and I can hopefully I can communicate very well on the radio. So
Mike brings up a good point. If you do it right, there's no way the guy on the other end is going to know if you're using a $300 radio or a $3,000 radio. I mean, it's just voice, under certain nuances, I guess. But
what I learned about it is, the radio is not sure, that's the modem where you talk to the people, but the antenna is what you need, and the antenna makes or breaks how your signal goes. So we have a dipole set up very much the same, and that's what I use. It's basically and I set my dipole. It's just two sets of wires and trees with a coax attached to it in bare essence, and it works fine. And I've talked to Cape Town, Cape Town, South Africa on it.
Without intending to make a stealth antenna, he's got a stealth antenna because it's in his trees. So I've driven by his place, like, where does he put that? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, it works great in the trees. So another thing, I like Dave's analogy about my analogy is like fishing. Sure, you can have a water boat, and you can have the graphs, and you can have big, fishing poles and stuff like that, and catch fish, or you can get a Zepco 33 and go fish offshore and you can still do that on ham radio.
Or a cane pole equivalent.
Absolutely. So.
A small radio with just a few watts out for less than $100, and you can still make some contacts that way.
Same way with that.
And as long as we're talking fishing analogies, one interesting comparison between ham radio and fishing is the differences with ham radio. Some of the fish want to be caught. Sometimes.
How do you make contact then? Are you just turning the dial and like saying hello over and over again, or can you scan?
We start with a CQ, which I'm not even sure the origins of that. It's obviously like 100-year-old, tradition. But anyway, CQ, or it's the two letters C and Q. But when I was taught, it was, I'm trying to seek you. But anyway, so there's actually songs out there that have CQ in their lyrics and titles or whatever. That's how we start, or we listen for one. That's really the most important thing about radio in general, is listening before you talk to make sure you're not already, standing on somebody else or talking over somebody else. But after you've listened, make sure the frequency is available, then you can call CQ. And that's what we'll be doing. We'll be calling CQ for this contest, and we'll be also answering other people and trying to exchange the information, our little data bit, to prove that we made the contact. And then we go to the next person in our club, and there we go.
Yeah, our club call sign is Whiskey Zero Whiskey Tango November, and that's what we're going to be telling people on the radio. And we're going to tell them that we're 9 alpha, meaning that we have nine transceivers using, and we're in South Dakota, Sierra Delta. And that's what we trade with each other. We get their information on their call sign, where they're at, and how many transmitters they have, and so that's what we trade information that way. So and that's basically it. So nice thing about South Dakota is that we do have amateur radio operators in South Dakota, but we're not as populated like we are in Florida, California, New York. So South Dakota is very sought after because we don't have a whole lot of people in South Dakota doing this, and we probably will have 3 or 4 stations participating in field days or clubs. And so South Dakota, people want to get South Dakota because there's not a lot of us around, but they want to get them for their points.
Oh, we're kind of rare. This contest actually doesn't track that so much, except for bragging rights. But there's other contests where, the amateur radio operators in South Dakota end up being a multiplier for somebody's contest score.
Mm-hmm.
So we are often sought after for that. But this one's just, it's all for fun. And I need to clarify that the Whiskey
Whiskey
Zero that's the phonetic alphabet. It has nothing to do with whiskey per se.
Yeah.
So we use the entire phonetic alphabet.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's
Like people are familiar with the military kind of
Right.
like based.
or the pilots. It's
So
I think
we
it's
all
the
have
same
call
alphabet.
signs. Mine's Kilo 0 Alpha Tango Yankee K0ATY. Dave is
November 0 Delta Lima.
So
Yeah.
Dave Lavasser.
and whenever you get a ham radio license through the FCC, you're assigned a call sign.
Mm-hmm.
And then if because mine was K0EPW when I started, and then you can switch it if you find a different one that you'd like to have. So I found K0ETY, so I thought, well, I'll grab onto that one.
Like the airport.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So you can choose. People choose their initials. That's what I did. I've had this since I was 18. This call. My son just got his ham radio license a couple of years ago. He's gone from technician all the way to the extra class license, which is the highest one. And now my grandson is getting interested in it and studying for his exam. So we may have 3 generations of Lavassers in ham radio. We'll see.
Wow. Yeah, that would be really cool. We should do something on that. Have all 3 of you in here if he gets that.
If it comes for that, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But if people want to get started, I guess Lake Area Radio Klub with a Lake Area Radio Klub.org, and that's club with a K. There's a link in there on a get started thing. It's pretty basic. It's a pretty basic website, but it lets people find out more about ham radio and then what it takes to study up to get the exam out of the way. We offer the exams. I don't know if we mentioned that. We hold exam sessions. People can do them online these days. That's what my son did. And it's the first exam is fairly straightforward and I would say easy enough that hams from age of 5 to 108, I guess we are able to get their licenses as young as 5 for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. You just got to be able to pass the test and then you get your technician license.
that's
Right.
That's how we'll get you in there right away.
That's the starting one.
Okay.
You get to do a little more with ham radio when you get to the next level up, which is the general class license. But we as a club have taken the inclusive viewpoint of trying to help as many people that are interested in learning about it and helping them pass the exam. We even have offered and might offer again if there was enough interest classes to help people get their licenses. But this was years ago. Before there was online studying. Now you can study online and it tracks your progress. You can take practice exams. You know very well if you're going to go into the real exam ahead of time, if you're going to pass or not. It's fairly straightforward.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very cool. Well, man, you guys are very well spoken about this. You got some passion about what you do.
Yeah, it's fun. It really is. That's the best part of it. It's fun. So,
Yeah.
There's just a lot of facets to it. I mean, satellite is its own thing. I don't do the satellite thing, but every time I see it when we do it at field, I go, I should really try to get into that. But there's a lot to that. Public safety, we, of course, talked about the run race coordination thing, but there's a lot of safety related facet of ham radio. Just camaraderie. Conventions. There's a big one in Dayton that took place a few months ago. And of course, all the on-air contesting, that's sort of a competitive thing. If you're a competitive person and you want to demonstrate how good you are at being competitive, contests are a good way to do that. This thing we're doing with Field Day is technically not a very competitive contest, but we're making it into one this year. We're going to try to go for our record score this year. I hope I didn't jinx that.
Yeah. No, it's just a goal. So
Just a goal.
You gotta have something to shoot for.
And
So
the weather looks like it could hold. Last year we had some storms come through and we had to be quiet during that time and away from the radios because a lot of aluminum in the air is not a good thing when there's lightning in the air.
sure.
But after that cleared out, we went back and went to work. And I think we still got our highest score ever last year, but now we're going to try to break that record.
Mm-hmm. But you were talking about disasters. So if there are storm disasters, so on, you can be inside and have reception and operate it safely and all that kind of stuff. Then
we have stations in our houses that we can certainly do that.
And we take this out. And actually, glad you mentioned that too. Skywarn. Many of us have gone through the Skywarn training here at the Expo Center, put on by the Aberdeen National Weather Service to make sure we know how to recognize a tornado or something. And many of us went through that. Did you go through that this year, Mike?
Not this year. The year before. So.
Yeah, well, it's good for 2 years. So we go every other year or whatever. And that helps us maintain, currency with weather conditions that we need to keep an eye on. But yeah, we send our folks out when needed. Of course, we keep them out of harm's way. But we got more eyes eyes on the ground, if you will, or eyes to the sky. And we also work with the emergency coordinator group, one of whom is a ham. So that's our liaison.
Wow.
And we, basically help make sure that we can report in on storms and other bad weather events as they're happening. So,
geez, there's a lot to the club.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of different things. And the nice thing is you can do the things you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun. And so just not to wrap up, but I just want to make sure this Saturday at the National Guard Army Readiness Center on Highway 20. We would like to invite the public to come anytime, but we're set up from 2 to 4 o'clock, and we'll have people to give tours and talk about it. And if you want to try to or get on and make a radio contact, we got a station exactly ready for that with the coach to sit down with you if you want to do it, or if you want to see it in action, we will certainly take you on the tour of all the 3 different booths that we have, and we'll tell you when we're going to try our radio pass or satellite passes too. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah. And hey, you can come too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I wanted to check these out, and I've been thinking, I don't know if I have anything going on. So I've had grandpa duty a couple of times this week because my wife's on a business trip, but now I think she comes back. So on Friday. But I think it's really cool that the SOS too always is something. I don't know if I'm just goofy, but I think like every kid should know how to do SOS at least. I meant Morse Code.
Yeah, we understood.
But yeah,
it's
at least just those 3.
Yeah, and those are easy enough to learn. It's only 2 letters there.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to be 3 dots and 3 dashes, so it's fairly straightforward. Yeah, it's a good thing to be able to flash that with a flashlight, if nothing else. Or make the sound let rap on a building or whatever. Yeah, it's a good skill to have, and that's a starting point. And one of our members is involved with the Long Island Radio Klub that is doing Morse Code training. And there are 9-year-olds that are learning Morse Code. This is not an old person's thing so much. It doesn't have to be. So he's got a flashcard system that helps people learn Morse Code much better than what I did, which was an old Army communications 78 LPs. That's just how old it was. So yeah, there's much better ways of learning Morse Code these days. And Mike's even looking into it. Mike didn't start off with Morse Code, but he's maybe getting into it.
Someday.
Yeah.
Well, I got time now. So
awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you guys for what you do for the community. It's I don't think everyone realizes how much extra you do when there's storms, or if there was an emergency, they're going to yank you guys out of bed to help us out maybe. So appreciate that, and what you're going to do to open up to the public too. Thank you guys for that.
We'd be happy to. So yeah, 2 to 4 on Saturday. So we'd be happy to visit with anybody who'd like to learn.
It's our open house to the world, and we're happy to do it.
Very good. Well, Dave, Mike, thank you guys for coming in, and open studio. So anytime you guys want to come in and talk about something, let me know. So
thank you very much.
You bet.
We might do a follow-up and let you know how it went.
Yes, very good. All right, we'll get back to some music here on Northeast Radio SD.
Sunday morning, man, she woke up fighting mad.